Welcome back to another episode of Fauxropter. My co-host today is
John Dutton.
And the other co-host is me, Bobby Gaucher.
Hi, Bobby.
Coming from you live from a basement covered in blankets.
It's not live.
Oh, right.
The rest is true. And today we have a very, very short word, and it might be a very, very short podcast.
So let's get into
Nod.
So, John.
Yes.
What did you mean by nod? Did you mean nodding, nodding off, nodding along?
It came up because I was driving one day, and it was one of those things where you have to yield to another driver or something. I can't remember the details now, but like you let them go, or they let you go, or something, right? At a junction or something like this. And it's a guy in the car, right? And I nod to him, and he nods back to me. And then I instantly was like, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing that guys do. And then having discussed it a bit after that with you and other people, it was brought to my attention that there are two different kinds of nod.
Oh, yes. So this was
In fact, there's more than two, but even of this kind, there's two.
This was a very elaborate conversation. I remember getting into it. So immediately I recognized that women don't nod at each other. It is not something that women do. It's something that men do. I watch men do it. I used to work in a pub for a lot of years, and I watch men constantly, unconsciously nod at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the upwards nod and the downwards nod. So when you brought this up, I said immediately, I was like, downwards nod is for respect. Upwards nod is for what's up. Yeah. And then we did a little R&D.
Yeah.
And started asking people when we saw them, what do these nods mean to you? And it almost came back unanimous that everybody was like, oh, well, you would politely nod and it's a downward nod. Or you'd be like, hey, what's up, man? With an upwards nod.
Yeah. And it also came up, and this was in discussion with my 19-year-old son, that I never do the upwards nod. Like it's only a certain, I feel like above a certain age. Like it was only invented at one point, like 20 years ago, I don't know how long ago, that dudes started doing this thing where they'd be like, sup.
Yeah.
Right? You have to, I think probably originally you had to say, sup. And then the sup part wasn't always necessary after that. You could just do the head thing. And it's a sign of like recognition of, what did you just say it was?
Which one?
Everything. No, it's like
the upwards nod?
Yeah. You're checking in. What is it?
Yeah, I guess it's checking in. It's just kind of like a salutation. It's the same like,
a salutation with somebody. This was the thing, though.
A familiar person.
Somebody who's on the same level as you in the social hierarchy.
Yeah. So I think especially young men wouldn't be doing that to older men. Ever.
Exactly.
Or to a person in a place of power or authority. Like you're not nodding, like walking by a cop and going, sup.
No, exactly. However, the other kind of nod, the kind that I did in the car, and I know that I do, walking down the street occasionally to strangers.
The kind of tip your hat nod.
It's kind of a tip your hat nod. You're right. Yeah. Tipping the hat, though, is an interesting one, too, because in, I don't know, Dickensian times or something, there's a thing called tugging the forelock.
Okay.
It might not be what you're thinking, but like...
I have one for you after.
I'm gonna do it now, everybody. So watch carefully. Watch the podcast carefully. I'm doing it. Okay. Do you see what I did there? Right. So my forelock is a bit of hair at in your forehead. It's a lock of hair on your forehead.
Gross.
Well, not really. It's just hair.
Yeah, but that's how you make your hair greasy.
Okay. You're always tugging
by
at it.
tugging at it.
So it's like doffing your cap is another one that people do in England. And my point about the tugging of the forelock, the doffing of the cap, is, haven't you ever watched Downton Abbey?
Yes.
I haven't, because I didn't need to, because I grew up there, and it's a sign
You grew up in 1900, turn of the century London.
Yes.
On an estate.
Yep, exactly. And the point of doing that, though, is a sign of social inferiority. It's a sign of respecting your superiors. So it's a very classist thing to do.
It's the same, I would say it's equivalent to a curtsy.
Curtsying, yes. Yeah, no, it's the male equivalent. Well, it's like bowing too,
Yeah.
right? You bow, right? So a little head nod is a bit like a bow, right?
But it's exactly bowing because
Yeah.
that's why you would take your hat off because you're bowing and
'Cause
you
it
don't
would
want your
fall
yes.
off.
So
Yeah.
you are tipping your hat like the bow goes to tipping your hat goes to tugging your whatever
Lock. It's a
Yeah.
lock of hair.
down to just a respectful nod now.
Yes, exactly. And
It's a natural progression, which is nuts.
well, yeah. Well, I don't know about natural. It's a social progression. But like, if naturally, though, it does make me wonder, does this go all the way back to, prehistoric times? Does this go back to people before they were even people of doing a sort of like a little sign with your head between males to show, like chimpanzees maybe they do that now to show superiority in the hierarchy.
And also to show, so I think the upward, like younger, cool nod shows familiarity a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the important, like the fact that we have a distinction of whether you're being polite and respectful and kind of offering respect, I guess.
Yeah.
Versus familiarity.
Right. And it's important, I feel like, to note that respect doesn't imply superiority or inferiority.
No, I don't think so either.
Because it did, though, in the times of Downton Abbey,
Mhm.
right? Like, you were supposed to either respect your elders, and this can be true in lots of cultures still now, right? Or respect your social superiors.
Mhm.
And
or
you
authority.
Authority, yes. True, going back to the boss episode. No, but it's true, right? But those days in our society are gone.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
So I think they've diminished.
Right.
But that's why I think it's so outstanding that I've made the connection between, I'm the first person ever to make the connection between the bow and the nod because it's inherent.
Yeah.
We can't get away from hierarchy. It's so far impossible.
But there was no, if we go back to the beginning of my story, me nodding at that guy and him nodding back at the junction in the car, there was zero hierarchy at all. Like it was just
what kind of guy? There is hierarchy because it's hierarchy of who should be going.
No, because it was almost more like who's more generous to let the other person go. It had, honestly, I mean, it had nothing to do with it. It was more just pure respect. It was like, it doesn't matter which of us goes first. So thanks, mate. You let me go.
Yeah. So I don't mean hierarchy necessarily in the up-down hierarchy class sense. I mean in structure. That it would be chaos if both of you tried to go. So to acknowledge each other, to see each other
like
and
more
nod.
like a sort of preference, or what's the word? It's not hierarchy though. That really does imply like somebody has like power over another person, and
but it's social structure.
Yeah, it's just structure. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it helps sort of lubricate social interaction, and in this sense, like not having car crashes.
Yeah, you're right. A tuck of the lock is a real lubrication.
Yeah. That's where the greasiness comes from. This isn't going how I expected.
So the only point that I want to bring up is what's the female equivalent of the nod.
And I don't know.
So I've thought about this ad nauseum. I think it's just a smile, which sucks. And I do, I've nodded to multiple, especially my male friends, sometimes my female friends. I'm a big fan of the sup nod. And I can rock it.
Mm-hmm.
But I only do it kind of like friends or people I know, or if I'm going into a restaurant where I know the staff and in any circumstance where you don't have the privilege of going to talk to someone, I'll rock a sup nod.
Yeah. It does make me wonder though if I don't do that sup nod, right? I don't think I do anyway. If I do, it's very unconscious. But I feel like the other nod, yeah, no, it's not just to strangers. I'm actually replaying it in my mind. No, it's just to other men. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always to other men. And then, so if you cross, let's say a woman would have let you yield. Would you have waved?
Possibly, yeah. I don't know.
So that's the question to me. And I don't have an answer.
I might wave to a man too, though. I mean, just that kind of you've got your hand on the wheel and you lift your fingers, neat thing.
Yeah. My uncle once invented a sign for whenever he saw another 4x4, and he would put up 4 fingers and then wiggle them and then put up 4 fingers again.
Did that catch on?
Yep.
Where and when was this?
I was 6 and he just got a new truck and he was like 4x4.
But Did it catch on?
No.
Okay. Now it will.
Yeah. There you go, Uncle Mark.
All right. I feel like I'm done nodding. I'm going to nod off. We should stop this before the audience nods off.
Well, I've just been nodding along the whole time.
If you would like to tell your friends and family about Fauxropter, go right ahead. Don't be shy. Even if you don't know how to say the name and it sounds like a weird long word, just mime it or something. Do that like a mime of that machine in the optometrist. Is this good advice?
I don't think so. I think you could just tell your friends, and then when you can't say the word, be like, don't worry, just listen to it.
Oh, okay. Or send them a link or something.
Yeah. You can send them a link on any platform because I think we're on 17 different platforms.
Wow.
Including Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Amazon Podcasts.
Stitcher.
Oh, yeah. We're on Stitcher too. Player FM. iHeart Radio.
Yeah.
So wherever you listen to podcasts, hit us up. And if you have any comments, questions, or anything that you need, hit us at forelock@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.